Welcome to the channel, Living in Denver, Colorado. My name's Jason Moscato, this is Joshua Gray, and we are the Denver Guys, coming at you from a mile high. And today we're going in depth on the cost of living in Denver, Colorado for 2022. We're gonna go in depth on all the expenses you're gonna incur, and you want to stay to the end. We're gonna tally all of it up and give you a living total. So, is it affordable? Is it not? Stay tuned and find out.
All right. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. Shut the shit down. First thing that we're going to kind of go over was the cost to live here as far as housing.
Yeah.
And since 2010 to 2020, the population here has grown by 14.8%, or 5.8 million people.
That's a lot.
That's a couple.
That's the whole state.
Yeah, it's the whole state. It's not Denver in general, but the whole state.
But, you know.
It's because it rocks here. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and then housing being the probably the biggest cost of living here in Denver. You know, the average home price is about $528, and then that's gonna probably set you about $34.65 a month. So like on a mortgage, that's what that's calculating. And then a 2-bedroom apartment is gonna run you about $1,500. So I mean, you know, maybe your first thing is maybe kind of get into a rental, kind of feel the area, or you just reach out to us because we are local real estate agents here, and we can help you with all that. And you know, factoring in all those things, you know, over the last 2 years, so just in 2 years, the houses have appreciated by $129,000. So yeah, maybe it's a little, you know, expensive to get into it, but hey, you know, I don't see a single trend that's saying it's going to slow down or go down. The trend is still showing it going up. So I mean, you buy now, I mean, another year or two later, I mean, you're going to be looking really good. And I've seen a lot of clients and folks, you know, with lots of great equity, and you know, they're able to move up. So maybe starting in a little condo, townhome, get you out here, get you started, build that equity for a year or so, and then boom, you get that house that you've been really wanting.
Yeah, a good example is I had a client that they bought a house about 5-6 years ago, and they bought it for $275,000,
which is crazy right now.
And it was yeah, it was a four bedroom on a 1/4 of an acre. That house now is closer to 6.
Yeah,
I mean, that was 5-6 years ago. I mean, that's nothing. So.
Yeah, you'll hear all the locals and all the people here always complaining about it. It's just they can't even afford to live here, you know, a lot of the times. But a lot of them can because they jumped in early, and there are lots of great programs out there to start that process out and get you to start building equity.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's the housing. That would be number 1. Stay tuned.
All right.
Number 2.
All right, cool. All right, so what we're gonna do first here, or second, sorry.
Second.
It's
number 2.
Yes, number 2.
Just went over that.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it together, don't worry about it. Utilities.
How much is it cost to run your house or your apartment?
So if you're going for your electricity, your cable, water, your trash and recycle, you know, all that kind of stuff, you're looking about $241 a month.
It doesn't sound too bad.
Not too bad. No.
Not too bad.
So a lot of cool things about Colorado is that we're very conscious about the environment. So we do a lot of renewable energy. Like I just got solar panels put up on my house because why not, you know?
Go green.
Yeah, go green, might as well. But the other cool thing about is that well, it's not cool, but it's interesting. So it's not required here in Colorado for us to have air conditioning in every single house, but it is a requirement for every house to have heat because it does get cold here. It doesn't really get all that hot. I mean, like 100 degrees. I mean, it's not like
Yeah, if you're coming from like Texas or something where it's hot, and you know, that's actually the opposite. You'd have to have AC as a safety. It's almost
like in Arizona, it's a must that you
Yeah,
have to have
yeah.
AC out there.
It's opposite here. We actually have swamp coolers, evaporator cooler.
Yeah, those things are sweet.
Yeah, they're actually pretty efficient. It's just basically a big, huge like humidifier.
Fan. It's
like,
a big fan with water that drips through it, make
Yeah.
cold air.
I never knew what one was until I came out here 18 years ago. So
I had those all the time when I was a kid.
Well, I came from
They're
North
great.
Carolina. It was super humid. And I'm like, why the heck would you want to put any more moisture? But being so dry here, it actually works really well.
Well, that brings us out to our next one, our water.
Yeah,
So
water.
since we're, on the west side here, we have serious drought issues pretty much all the time. So, I mean, you got to really be cognizant of how much water you're using for the most part. I mean, on certain days, you can only, water your house or your yard or whatever, like every third day or something like that, or every other day, depending on how bad our water is. I mean, the good thing is, though, is that it snows a lot up in the mountains. So, I mean, that water comes down this way.
Yeah, that's basically where we get our water. And it's
Yeah.
all going to determine on your address number, like if you're even or odd, depending on which one you are. Like odd numbers will water Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or the odd will water those opposite days, so it's not just putting a big drain on the water source.
Yeah.
But with that, it does, it is a little more expensive than maybe some of these other states in the country. So just being a little aware of that, you'll probably be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. But all around, I mean, the utilities aren't really all that much. So
Yeah,
fine.
internet's gonna run you. You got pretty much two basic services. You got CenturyLink, and then you got Comcast or Xfinity, whichever
Right,
one.
same thing.
I'm not sure what they call themselves now. They're
Change
pretty
it.
comparable. I've gone through both of them. And I keep going back and forth. They are expanding and constantly growing, and with the Ethernet and all that stuff. But you're under, you're probably on average, I would say about $70, depending on what speeds you go with. But I would say 70 is definitely a fair evaluation of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Depending on if you're in an HOA or you have a single family residence, your trash services normally are going to be covered by the HOA if you're in an HOA. If not, then
My trash and recycles are like $12 a month.
yeah, so it's it's very affordable. But overall total for utilities on average in Denver is about $241.
Yeah. All right. Number 3.
All right.
Food.
How much food, man?
Food.
Groceries,
Well, there's a contrast between the two of us.
Yeah.
I have quite a few people in my house, so I usually on average spend around $200 a week.
Which is actually kind of a little bit below on average for a family of 4.
Didn't used to be like that. I used to be able to buy like $100.
Yeah. So you're actually getting less than the natural average.
Right. So
that's not too bad. If you're looking at like a household of like 2, it's average about $500.
a month.
Yeah. This is a month.
Not a week.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys eating?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a family of 3. I got 2 daughters and then myself, and my weekly grocery expenses are probably about $150. So if you do the math, it's probably about $600. And I mean, I don't really go all out. I mean, I just get the the bare necessities.
Yeah. You need bread and stuff to put on the bread.
yeah, for sure. So take that in consideration, but also take in consideration if you have like a special diet that requires maybe vegan or vegetarian,
Gluten free.
Yeah, those things. If you're shopping at maybe like a Sprouts or Whole Foods or
Trader
Joe's, yeah. Then those costs are going to be a little bit higher, of course.
Yeah. We are a very healthy, conscious state, though, so we do accommodate a lot for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then a lot of people do tend to go out to eat and stuff.
That's
so.
that's a whole nother thing. You better up your amount a month
Yeah.
for that one.
Yep.
It's not cheap to eat out anymore. It just isn't. So that's just how it is.
Well, especially like a sit-down place or something like that.
Right. I mean, unless you're going like fancy. I mean,
Fancy, yeah.
I mean, I've gone to dinner and spent $200 for me and my wife.
Yeah. Yep. And it depends if you don't
look
drinks
you
in
look
there,
at the
too.
receipt, you're like, oh, hold on, I get my glasses out. Did that say 200?
Yeah. And depending if you're getting drinks or cocktails with it, then
I'll have a water. No ice.
Everybody, no drinks right now before we go in.
You said those refills were free.
Everybody gets waters before we go in there. Okay, never mind. So So the food cost in Denver on average for a family of 4 is gonna be about $8.69. For 2 people, about $500. So
Right.
there it is.
There you go. Number 4. All right, we're gonna do healthcare. So
Gotta have healthcare.
gotta have healthcare. For a single person, usually it's around $340 a month.
Yeah,
Seems a little. Seems like a lot.
that seems like a lot.
I don't know.
Well, it's all going to depend on like if your company provides it.
Right.
You know, sometimes you can get into a plan. You know, with your company.
Get those city jobs. Those city jobs got
City-
great, great healthcare.
Yeah, depending on your benefits. But we're going off of just individual, you know, cost.
Right.
You know, without a group healthcare plan.
Well, and you got to think of it this way too. Like I said before, Colorado is a very healthy state, so we spend a lot more money on like vitamins and gym memberships and all. That's kind of all factored into that kind of stuff too. So keep that in mind. We really do try to stay fit out here and healthy.
Yeah, and that's probably a reflection on the price, I would imagine, because
Right.
you know people are more active and healthier.
There's a lot of discounts that come along with that kind of stuff though too. If you
Yeah.
get regular physicals and you know doctor visits and saying you're in good shape. If you're nicotine free, there's discounts, that kind of stuff too. Because then
Okay.
you're lower risk.
Yeah, yep. So that's about average. About $340 per individual
There you
per
go.
month.
All right, number 5.
5.
Now we're gonna talk about taxes.
Nobody wants to talk about
I wanna
taxes,
talk
man.
about taxes. They're so
Huh. Well, we gotta talk about it. It's an expense.
part of it's part of the expense. The average taxes in Colorado, 398.92.
month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the good thing is about Colorado is it's a flat rate state. Basically, what that means is that you're going to get taxed on 4.5% of your income in 2022.
No matter how much you make.
Yeah, so it's either high or low. So if you make a lot, you pay more, obviously, 4.5, whatever. So
Could be pro con. You know.
Pro con.
Depending, I guess. Flat rate. So and then on your sales tax is gonna be 2.9. But then each individual city has their own taxes that they allocate to, like Aspen, Snowmass over there, like 10.3%. So you can't forget about the marijuana for whether it's for medical purposes or recreational. They add 15% tax on there. So 30% tax on top of whatever the original cost is.
we have a video on that if you want to check it out.
Yep. What you didn't know about legal marijuana? It's gonna be up here up top.
That's right.
So yeah, you know, taxes. You gotta always talk about taxes, and
Well, and then there's your property tax as well. Thankfully, here in Colorado, we have some of the lowest average in the country
that's not bad.
at only 0.57%.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
Especially if you're in like Northeast or something like that. I mean,
Right.
It's insane. One thing to be aware of though on new construction. New construction is typically about 1.2% of the sales price. So if you're looking at like a $500,000 house, which is probably right around there or more, you know, you could add, you know, 5,200 for per year. So you know, it could be kind of pricey, you know, when you're buying into that new home, just because you're paying for all that infrastructure coming in from all the houses that are put in, and the builder's going to pass that expense on to the homeowners.
Yeah, so the one thing we try to express to our clients when they want to look at new builds is, yeah, all this is really shiny and pretty, but you got to look at how much it's going to cost you. Once all that pretty kind of wears off, they look at that bill and they're like, oh, hey, that's me, huh? Okay, all of it? Okay.
Yeah. I
Just
mean,
be cognizant of that when you're buying a new home. If you can afford it, that's great, but I mean, be aware of that.
Yeah, kind of a little rule of thumb I always say is for every $50 is going to be about $10,000 on your purchase price. So every $50 a month that you pay is an additional $10,000 in your purchase price. So if you're paying an additional, you know, $300, that's potentially $60,000 more house that you could get if you found something with lower taxes. So taxes is, you know, something you definitely got to be cognizant about, and it could be a matter of you know, buying a bigger home or more, you know, a small home.
Modest one.
Yeah, modest one, right? Yeah. Okay,
All right.
so that's taxes.
Taxes.
Hate to tell you about taxes, but
Yeah, sorry about that,
Number 6.
Number 6. All right.
Our last and final one.
All right, transportation. You got to factor this in because obviously you got to get around.
Yeah.
On average, for a year span, people usually spend around $628 a year in transportation costs. That's for gas, public transit, that kind of thing. Gas isn't terrible here, depending on what part of town you live in. If you live in Denver, it is a little bit more expensive. If you live up in Aspen,
How much did you just pay?
$318.
What do you get? 87?
I just get 87.
87?
No, I get 85.
85?
I get 85.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, and that's probably about where I was at too. 85 is probably about what, 318?
Yeah, 318.
And then it kind of jumps up to the 87 though. It's like 360 something.
Yeah.
When I was looking at that, and I was kind of like, should I grab that one?
Go.
Because like, dang,
What's
it's 54 cents. I was like, man,
It's cheaper.
put
Do
the
that.
85 in there. Oh well.
Use those fuel points. It's fine. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, so your public transportation, like if you're looking for like a light rail pass or like a bus pass, it's gonna range from about 114 to 200.
Yeah.
And that's per month. So you could probably save, a lot of money there. You have, you don't have any of the stress of maybe parking. Like especially if you have to commute to downtown, you would have to add that cost in there for parking. Parking can be pretty expensive downtown.
If you go downtown, it can get really costly, real fast.
Yeah, you're looking at an average parking spot of like $100 a month, and that's kind of a good deal. Like especially if it's in a good location. Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
That's probably most likely not even
Denver.
covered. If you get into the covered spots and this kind of, and those kind of things, or even like has a gate, it could be upwards of $200 just to park, and not just downtown, but having access to the light rail, RTD, especially with our weather. With the snows and stuff like that, it's a great way to get around town without having to really worry about all the accidents.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of another good point. So our insurance is higher than the national average because it snows here.
Yeah.
So the unfortunate thing is people will come here and they don't know quite how to drive yet in the snow, and it can get real sketchy real fast.
Yeah.
Just like the other day, I've been here my whole life, and then they got really cold and the ground froze, all of it. It was like a big skating rink. So I put me to my test on how to drive, and a lot of people got in accidents because you weren't expecting to keep going.
Yeah.
When you hit the brakes.
Just to give you a little bit of what I pay. I have a newer Jeep Wrangler. I have a perfect driving record. I am 40 plus. And I do have full coverage on my vehicle, and I pay about $900 every 6 months. So
That's not bad.
it's not too bad. But I mean, I feel like
I think for me, my wife, and my daughter, for all three of us to be on our insurance, we're looking probably about, I don't know, $150 a month.
for 3 cars too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what do you got?
State Farm.
Oh, I'll have to talk to them.
Like a good neighbor,
I
State Farm.
got Geico.
You got that gecko, man.
They told me I could save.
You lied to me.
They told me I was saving. So yeah, definitely got to factor in insurance and all that stuff. But make sure you stay tuned. We're gonna go over and tally up the whole cost per month on what it's gonna cost you
Yeah. All right.
in total.
Okay.
We had to add it. We added it all up.
we
What
got a
is the number?
calculator. All right, we're looking at about $5,600 if you have an average loan, mortgage, and that doesn't include extracurricular activities, snowboarding, skiing, that kind of stuff, and if you have a car note.
Yeah, so any other additional expenses you might have, maybe credit cards, car loan, whatever it might be, you might want to factor those in, because that is something you pay every month.
Yeah.
It does sound like a lot,
Or maybe it doesn't.
or maybe it doesn't. Shoot, I don't know. It sounds like a lot to me. It's a lot.
Sounds like a lot.
I think, having an average salary maybe as a household, 80 to 100,000 a year, being combined income or individual, you're gonna be sitting pretty nice.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking to get into a mortgage, they typically want to see like a 50% or less debt to income ratio, which is DTI. That's taking all of your expenses, like the 5,600, and multiplying that, and then that would be your gross.
Yeah.
And then so that'd be 11.
It's a lot of math.
Yeah,
right.
11,200.
All right, knock it back.
We'll have to check that. We'll have to check that below. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the our channel today. This is your first time here, make sure you guys are subscribing, and then you know, make sure you're liking all the videos. It does help us.
Or just comments too. We'd like hearing from you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we love hearing from you. If you have any additional questions about any of this, or you know, you're thinking about relocating, or you're thinking about moving here, just hit us up. We love helping you guys. We can answer all your questions. We are the guys that answer the phones. So we'll leave our number down below. My name is Jason Moscato. This is Joshua Gray, and we are both licensed real estate agents here in the state of Colorado. We have vast knowledge of Colorado, Denver. He's a native here, and I've been here for 18 years. So you're getting a perspective on both sides, from moving here and somebody that's actually lived here all his life.
I love it here.
Yeah, me too. I'll never go anywhere. So hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Thanks.